Okay, this is a video tour of Lion's Arch, one of the major cities in Guild Wars 2. If you play the original Guild Wars, you should be very familiar with the original Lion's Arch. It was the major hub town of not just the first game, but of all the games, all the campaigns. Everybody knows Lion's Arch. And it was the largest, most important city in the game, though it is positively dwarfed by this new Lion's Arch, which is, it's just massive. It just goes on forever. My guess is that there's 6 major cities in the game, one for each of the 5 playable races, and then Lion's Arch, the hub, connected by the other Asura Gates, which were those purple warp points that connects you to all the different parts of the 5 different... If you think of it as a wheel, spokes on a wheel, you have your Norn, your Zora, your Solvari, Char, and Human areas, and they're all connected by gates to this central hub. Has a very cool nautical theme.
Embrace simplicity.
And you'll encounter NPCs of all the different races here. Now, it's my hope that they'll actually provide some content for these cities. I know that the Guild Wars team they sort of frown upon traditional quests, like fetch quests and quests of that nature. They're very into the dynamic questing, which is, it's good for when you're out in an explorable area where you're doing combat, but when you're in a city like this, it'd be nice to have some objectives. As you see right now, I'm going up to the top. I just found this walkway, and I'm headed to the top, and what I will find is I think it's called the Crow's Nest, and it's like a little dining area at the top of... this is, I would love to eat in a place like this.
Live well.
I love outdoor dining with a cool vantage point, and inside it's like a little pub lounge area. Now I'm kind of stuck underneath. I guess they have a little separate space for the Asura, but it kind of makes the camera go wonky when you're in a very enclosed area like this. But see, this is a neat little spot, this Crow's Nest, but there's no reason to really be up here, except that you're going to visit here to get that point of interest achievement. The developers have put around little points of interest in all the major cities, and you want to go find each one, and that will be an achievement when you've found all 14, for example. But once you've found it, there's no reason to go back that I can see, except that it might be a place to meet your friends, for your guild mates. But it'd be nice if there was some kind of just little quests that took you around. Deliver a package to the Crow's Nest, something. I realize that ArenaNet wants to get rid of these kinds of silly quests because there's nothing really innovative about them, but, if you sign on for 10 minutes, all you have is 10 minutes to play, maybe all you want to do is putz around in Lion's Arch for no particular reason. Why not give people the option?
For Iron Legion.
So I'd love to see some sort of storyline that's just for each individual city. And maybe there is, and it's just not in the beta, or maybe it is in the beta and I missed it. But this is a little overview of the map, the city map. This is the city. It is huge. All the cities are huge. could fit the original Lion's Arch in like one little pocket of that map.
Follow your dream. Just support.
I think one reason why the cities are so large is because they don't have districts or overflows. They want to be able to fit an entire game's population in the city at one time for big events and so forth. So you have to have space to spread them all out. I'll say that one minor quibble about this game is that it can be difficult to tell a NPC from a player. The NPCs have green names, and the players have teal names above their heads, and it's really not much of a color difference, so it can be difficult to say. This is basically a problem when you're out in the world and you're in combat. You can't tell if that's a human player that needs your help, or is that just some computer player. When you're in the town, it doesn't really matter. So now we're headed to the beach. You know what they ought to do is have little beach cabanas that guilds could rent.
Yes. Talk to me.
Rely on your knowledge.
Yeah, and what are these little amphibian creatures that can talk? I don't remember hearing about those before. Up top here we have a seaside dining. First I want to go into this little house, and there's nothing to do in here. See, this is the kind of there's a pig or something on a roast there. This is the kind of place I would love to have dinner.
Stay out of trouble.
Right on the water. Right on the beach. And it's always a nice day in Lion's Arch. Actually, that brings up something. When I was in the explorable areas, there weren't any dynamic weather effects. You know, it changed from day to night, but it never rained. It rained during instanced quests, like at the very beginning of the game, the tutorial, but at least I don't think it ever rained. A little drizzle. So I'm gonna go to the very top of this diving platform. When I get to the top, a little notice pops up that implies that there is some sort of in-town challenge to find different points to dive off from, different cliff diving spots, and when you find and dive off all of them, you'll get the achievement. I may be imagining that. That might be wishful thinking, but I think that's what happens. But I'm headed to the very top of this spot. There's a char who's
Talk to me.
tuckered out. He couldn't make it all the way up the steps. somebody, another player has gotten all the way up here.
Seize the moment.
Before I go, I'm gonna take my armor off, because you don't want to jump in and get your clothes all wet. I leave my weapons on. I forgot to take them off, but... Alright. That girl's kind of terrified to jump. But I'm gonna take the plunge. Plunk. Okay. So, Guild Wars 2 introduces swimming and underwater combat. See, right now I'm swimming through the remains, the ruins of the old Lion's Arch that has either sunk or was flooded. It's kind of cool that you could that they have all these ruins underneath, and just it's just so immense, the scale of this underwater environment, and I don't really know what the purpose of it is. Unless there are quests that take you down here, it's all just for show. In which case, I have to say, hats off to the design team for designing this just gorgeous underwater area for no conceivable purpose other than the fact that it's gorgeous. And these chasms, these rifts in the ocean floor, they just go down forever. Not forever, obviously, they can't, but they go down quite a ways, and I'm not even going to bother going all the way down. I have to keep checking my map because I'm lost. I don't really know where I'm going. And for some reason, my cat can swim underwater with me. You may be wondering if you have to worry about your breath and running out of breath and resurfacing, otherwise you die. That's a common mechanic in a lot of games. Well, they put a little respirator, a mouth-breathing device on your face so to justify that you can be underwater for however as long as you want to be. Your pet doesn't have one of those, so I don't know how they can be underwater for so long, but you know, don't try to inject too much logic into a fantasy role-playing game, alright? And we have these creatures underwater that you can talk to, but I don't know what the species is. I really hope that they provide you a purpose for being underwater, though, and that they give you some kind of quest. You know, hidden treasure to find, or something. Again, I know that the developers are really into this dynamic questing thing, but you know, some basic quests from like a fetch quest, there's nothing really. Yes, they're kind of tiresome and we've all done them, but to have them anyway as an option would give you a little something to do in this giant town other than just explore, which right now I'm enjoying it quite a lot, but 2 years from now, will I would still want to do that? Yeah, I have to have a purpose for this gigantic space. And you get a little fighting pit for pit animals against each other. Now, we've only seen like a very small part of Lion's Arch